Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it is your first time here, my name is Lizzie, and here we talk about spirituality, angels, quantum healing, and so much more. So if any of that resonates with you, or if my energy just resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, because I post videos weekly, and I'm here to help you navigate your spiritual journey. I put a poll on Instagram last week asking you all what video you wanted to see next, and this one had the most votes. So it's quite clear to me that some of you may be navigating the dark night of the soul or are currently experiencing some upheavals in your life and are needing some extra guidance and support on how to get through it so that you can make it out on the other side. I'm also going to be sharing some of my own experiences as well so that you can get to know me better and also be able to apply anything that resonates from my story to your own journey as well. So to start off, what is the dark night of the soul? The dark night of the soul is really this initiation period. It's a portal to where more light can come in. But in order for this light to come in, you're going to have to really meet all the shadows, all the darkness that you have either suppressed, any emotions you have suppressed, anything you haven't healed yet. It's really all coming up to the surface so that you can recognize it, so that it can be brought to the light, so that it can be transmuted, so you no longer have to carry this darkness with you. I do want to say, though, that I do not believe every single person has to experience the full extent of the dark night of the soul to have a spiritual awakening. Some people's spiritual awakenings are more gradual, and some are more of a smack in the face or an overnight awakening. It really is different for everybody. The greater the death, though, the bigger the opportunity is for a rebirth, because when you're at the depths of your despair, you have nowhere else to go but up. And the universe isn't going to give you something that you cannot overcome. Now let's get into the 4 stages of the dark night of the soul. So for number 1, a disruption happens in your reality. Something happens that you weren't prepared for, a triggering event, something in your external reality that causes a lot of intense pain. For example, this could be a betrayal, a breakup happens, you lose a loved one, you lose your job, something goes on with your health, whatever it is, it really shakes things up. Even though you can be like, what on earth is going on right now? This is so painful. It really is all happening for you. And it's really to snap you back into this present moment and to wake up to what is going on in your life and where you really want your life to go from here. Moving on to stage 2, this is probably the darkest part of the dark night of the soul. And you may actually feel like you're dying, and because part of you is an old version of you is starting to die in all ways. You may start to question the meaning of life or feeling like you're having an existential crisis. You may even start asking yourself, what is the point of even being here? And this is when you're going to start to feel some of the darkest emotions that you've ever felt. And this is because things that you have suppressed ever since you were a child are now coming up to be brought into the light, to be felt so that you can feel it, to heal it. Any shadows are going to need to be worked through. Any old habits, anything that you have put aside because you didn't want to meet it face to face, this is now your time. You're going to feel like you've met death itself, and this is because essentially you're seeing this old version of you die, everything that you've ever known. And this is so you can transcend. This is so you can rise from the ashes of what used to be to create your new reality. It's really important not to rush out of this specific stage because it's meant for you to really transmute and let go of all that darkness and cleanse any energies that no longer serve you. This is really that wake-up call that the universe is giving you to course correct to get back onto your most optimal timeline. I know it's super uncomfortable, but if you allow yourself to surrender to this journey and trust the process and be gentle with yourself as you're navigating this, you're going to be guided to exactly where you need to be. For my own example, my first spiritual awakening was so intense. My ego was really trying to hold on to everything that it's ever known. And I was so far off my path that the universe really had to step in and give me a wake-up call. I was in a situationship with someone that I thought I trusted, and this was about 7 years ago. We went out one night, and I ended up getting drugged by someone, in the circle or outside of the circle, that's still unknown to this day. But I woke up on a bathroom floor the next day, completely alone. I knew where I was after a while, but I was completely alone. The door is completely shut, and I don't remember a single thing from the night before after a certain time. I had never blacked out before in my life, so this was really scary for me to try and think back to any events that occurred after a specific time, and I really couldn't think of anything. And when I opened the door of the bathroom, I walked into a very unpleasant situation, and it really just shook me to my core. Everybody was safe, thankfully. I was safe as well, and I'm not going to share all the details here, but this specific situation launched me into my self-love journey, my healing journey, and I was really experiencing this ego death. I had felt a sense of betrayal like I had never felt before. I was embarrassed, and I was also angry at myself for letting myself get to a place forever settling for less than what I deserve. And I really had to learn how to forgive myself and how to forgive others as well. So that's a bit about my story, but whatever your triggering event is that launches you into the dark night of the soul, know that you are not alone. This is also the time of when you start to question life. Why are you even here? What is the purpose of you being here? What is your relationship to the universe, to God, whatever higher power you believe in? And you really start to get curious about this life, this reality that you're experiencing, and you know deep down that there's more than what meets the eye. Which brings me to stage number 3. This is when you are really waking up from the matrix. This is when that spiritual awakening is really happening, and you're discovering, yes, there really is more than what meets the eye. The feeling that you have inside of you of wanting more, knowing more, is there for a reason. You're waking up to the greater meaning of life. You may start experiencing deja vu moments, having premonition dreams, seeing a lot of synchronicities in your life, seeing angel numbers, and this is going to lead you to wanting to learn more about that. You'll start studying more about spirituality and naturally be drawn to topics such as manifestation, the law of attraction. You may read some self-help books, holistic healing. You may be drawn to that, or listening to podcasts that really intrigue you, that help you expand your consciousness. And this is all this content that you're consuming is really helping you step into the highest version of yourself to get you out of this dark time. This particular period is really about consuming content, learning and digesting it all. It's a lot of information, but it intrigues you, it resonates with you. And even if it doesn't necessarily resonate with you completely at this time, you have this feeling that it will in the future. You feel a sense of purpose for life again, and you want to start living more authentically and courageously. Which perfectly brings me to stage number 4, which is embodiment. Taking action, really living your truth. This is the final stage of the dark night of the soul. And it's when, after you've taken all of this information in, it's time to put it into practice. You now have a better understanding of why things happen the way that they did. You feel a sense of peace, and you are feeling like yourself again, but a new version of you, a higher vibrational version of you, like you've risen from the ashes. This is an exciting time because you've found purpose to show up for life again, and you want to live out that purpose. Even if you don't know what exactly that entails, you trust, and you're letting your intuition guide you every step of the way. You're following those breadcrumbs. You have allowed in divine support, allowed in universal guidance, and you see the bigger picture in things. You have a lot of faith. It feels good. You have committed to bettering yourself, and you may want to be of service to humanity in some type of way. This is also a sign of your heart chakra expanding, and you want to continue to learn, to grow, to evolve into the best version of yourself that you possibly can be. This was a really special time for me. I remember it like it was yesterday. But when I discovered that I had so much more to give to life than just working at a corporate job. My life changed. Everything expanded for me. I woke up with excitement. I was excited to bring what had helped me heal to others. And even though it was very nerve-wracking to do so at times, of putting myself out there, I would not change it for anything. I mean, I look back at old videos, old TikToks that I've made, even old videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm like, oh my goodness. But I'm so proud of myself for putting myself out there because in me, just sharing my story, being vulnerable whenever I could, this has made a ripple effect into the whole collective, even if it's just one person. If one person had told me or even shared with me, expressed with me how much my story had touched them, had moved them in some way, if one part had resonated with them, that would literally make my day. It made my heart so full. And since then, ever since I started listening to my intuition and really following those inner nudges I was getting, I was receiving that support from people, from opportunities coming into my life. Things really started to feel in alignment. It was serendipitous. I was meeting the right people at the right time. It felt like everything was really coming in to support me being on my most optimal timeline. And I could really feel, and I still feel, that the universe always, always has my back, and it has your back too. This is also a time when you have raised your vibrational frequency to a certain level, and it's really important for you to sustain that frequency. So if you started meditating, this was a non-negotiable for me to meditate every single day, even on days that I didn't feel like it. I knew it was part of my practice and I committed to it because, again, the little things that you do every single day compound over time, which will really, really help you and support you in maintaining that high vibration to where things will continue to feel in alignment, to where those miracles will just be drawn your way. Now, as far as my tips for getting through the dark night of the soul as smoothly as possible, the very first thing is to recognize that the dark night of the soul is not going to last forever and to deeply believe that. Even watch stories of other people overcoming the dark night of the soul. This is already a great start, but really, really ingraining in yourself that this is something that is just going to be for a period of time in your life, and this feeling is not going to last forever. As long as you continue to follow your intuition and listen to what your soul is guiding you to do and are willing to feel the feelings that come through and do that healing work, this is going to be that path of least resistance. It's important to remember that you can't just sit on your couch for an entire year and then expect yourself to be able to get out of the dark night of the soul. You have to be willing to do the work. My second tip would be to allow yourself to surrender to this whole entire process as much as possible. I know that I mentioned this earlier, but this is really, really crucial because if you're going to try and fight this change from happening, this transformation from happening, you're going to make it even more painful to go through it and to navigate it. So allow yourself to feel whatever needs to be felt, work through those shadows, anything that needs to be purged, any bad habits, things that no longer are serving you, people that you need to let go of, things that you're doing that you just know deep in your soul, this is not going to be good for you anymore. It's not helping you in any way. It's not helping you grow. Leave that behind because that is just holding you back and weighing you down from stepping into your new frequency that is going to attract those blessings into your life. And of course, you want to attract those blessings into your life. This is also a really good time to get acquainted with your ego and your intuition and really understand what is your ego guiding you to do versus what is your intuition saying, which is always going to be for your highest good. Something that's going to help you strengthen your intuition is actually journaling, being able to write down whatever it is that comes to mind, having a daily practice of writing down anything that's chattering up in here and getting it onto paper is going to help you drop from your head and into your heart. This is a beautiful practice that has helped me immensely. I still do it to this day. Every morning when I wake up, I'll just write down whatever it is that's coming through so that I can really clear up any chatter that isn't serving me up here and distinguish what is it that my soul is telling me. Now, this next one is going to depend on whatever you experienced prior to your awakening, whatever launched you into your dark night of the soul. But forgiveness is going to be a huge part of this process for you of overcoming the dark night of the soul. Through forgiveness, through forgiving yourself, you are freeing your soul. And in forgiving others, you are freeing their soul as well. There's many guided meditations that can help with this, but also just understanding that everybody is doing the best that they possibly can be doing at their state of consciousness. The more that you're willing to do the work and actually integrate the lessons that you've learned, the smoother of a ride it's going to be for the dark night of the soul, and the quicker that you will get to the other side of it. And finally, for my very last tip, it is to keep in mind that with every dark night of the soul, there is a lesson to be learned there. For example, my first dark night of the soul, my lesson to be learned was my own self-worth, coming back to self-love. It really launched me into my self-love journey. And for my second dark night of the soul, which was when I had this really intense health journey, the lesson that I had to learn was to trust that the higher realms, that my angels, that God, the universe could heal me, especially when nothing in the 3D realm could do anything to help me get to a healthier state. I had to trust in faith, and I had to stick to having faith. That is when my life changed. There's going to be a rainbow after the rain, I promise, but you are responsible for also meeting the universe halfway, of doing whatever it is that you can to navigate through it as well. And we've made it to the end of this video. I hope that this has helped you in some way, somehow, and has helped you feel a little less alone, especially if you're navigating through the dark night of the soul at this time. I appreciate you all so much for watching. I would love to hear if anything resonated with you, anything stuck out for you, your thoughts, wherever you are in your dark night of the soul, or if this is something that you have navigated through as well. Any tips that you would also want to share with the community, please feel free to share them in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you all so much love and so much light. May blessings and miracles flow your way today and every day. Bye, everyone.